Buying a home is just the beginning. There's so much more exciting little things that you get to do with this when you get through that whole process. So let's dive into what it looks like to financially prepare for owning a home, maintaining a home, and just pure enjoying your home. What's going on? My name is Kyle Powers, your Manhattan, Kansas real estate expert, and I'm here to help you kind of understand the whole process of buying real estate and what that looks like for you and your family. So let's dive into the first pieces and understand the true cost of home ownership, right? And so really with home ownership, there's a lot of differences that people don't necessarily think about, right? At this point, you've bought the home, you've put your down payment, you've done all that kind of stuff. You kind of understand what your payment might be, but then what, right? Like you don't just go on happily ever after and do all that stuff. There's going to be maintenance things that come up. So first thing I want to talk about is property taxes. So when you're going through property taxes, that's included typically in your payment. Typically property taxes do not go down. And if they are going down, that means your house is not. You're not doing these additional tips and doing these upgrades and maintenance and things like that, because it looks like from the outside that the county is saying that your house is not worth what it once was. So property taxes is one you need to pay attention to. Homeowners insurance is a piece of this. Again, typically these two get lumped into your payment if you go in escrow and do all that stuff, which if you're anything like me, I highly recommend that you lump all these into your payment, because if you don't, then if you're like me, you'll forget it and you'll never think about it and it won't be anything else there, right? Like, it's just totally things that you just need to pay attention to. So that's for me anyway. I like that. Maybe you're better at it. That's totally up to you. The next thing is utilities and HOA fees. I will tell you, we just bought an investment property, and I'm not even joking you. The electrical bill for this past month was $1,000. That's not a joke. It was $1,000. Now, granted, we were prepared for it because I saw the units were running constantly, and there's always lights on and always this and always this and always this. And I'm like, geez, this is going to kill me. But it was $1,000. And I think that's the thing that people don't necessarily think about when buying a home is, what are the utilities going to cost, right? Fun fact, whenever you're looking at buying a home, before you purchase, you can actually go in and say, okay, what are the average utilities? And you don't need permission for this. You can call Evergy, Kansas Gas. You can call all the people that you need to and get a good idea of what those averages are, because unfortunately utilities have gone up here recently. And then HOA fees, you really want to kind of keep in mind those. And then the big one that nobody talks about, right, is maintenance and repairs. Here's the thing. I don't care if you buy a brand new house or a 100-year-old house. Something is going to break down, and you need to be prepared for that, okay? For me, that number for me has always been $5,000. If you can have $5,000 of budget or $5,000 of just having that ready to go, it's a good number to have on that one. So being prepared for maintenance and repairs, and just being ready to take care of anything that breaks down, because you've got a water heater, HVAC system, windows get broken, roofs get hailed on, you name it. I've probably seen it, because it does happen. Heck, it's probably happened to me at some point in time. So but yeah, so that's the true cost of it. I mean, just kind of understanding that piece. The next thing I want to talk about is actually creating that budget, right? And so this is part of my educational piece for all of my clients, and for you. I want you to understand this too, because my number, as I just said, is $5,000, right? I want $5,000 in a bank account. This is a rainy day fund. And that $5,000 is not expected to replace a roof or replace an entire HVAC system or anything else like that. That $5,000 is there to be like, for those oh shit moments, right? A water heater, you're probably $1,500 to $2,000 to just take out and replace. An HVAC system, you're probably $7,000 to $8,000 if you're doing heating and air. That's a full system. But if you break one down, like if you just want the AC, the unit, the coil inside and the unit outside, you're probably about $3,500 or so, ballparking. Again, do not quote me on these numbers. And then the HVAC, the actual heating element, the blower and all that stuff, you're typically about $5,000 for that. And then a roof, if any major hail or anything else, like $5,000 typically will be a good nest egg sitting there ready for you in any major system that might happen. Now, that said, you need to be prepared. Heck, we just had, I think we had two properties of ours that had frozen water lines in it. And so we literally, my wife and we were checking properties, and she calls me in a panic, absolutely panic, just starts going in, oh my gosh, there's water everywhere. Ah! I told her, I said, dear, calm down, figure out how to shut the water off, we'll get it taken care of. So we went in, figured out, shut the water off, thankfully there wasn't any major damage or anything because the basement was unfinished. But imagine if that basement had been finished, right? Now I've got wet carpet, wet drywall, wet studs, where now I've got to worry about if it sits for too long, is there going to be mold? Is there going to be so there's so much more that comes with that. But $5,000 is typically the budget that I tell people to kind of be into. That's typically a pretty attainable. Again, whether you can do that all in one lump sum, or if you're doing it over a year, it's a little over $400 a month. It's whatever that becomes for you. But that $5,000 typically gives you that little bit of cushion for anything that may happen when you can do that. Now, again, it's important to actually replenish that as we go through that. So having that budget and kind of understanding what that looks like is very important to have. The other part of building your budget is I really want you to look at your monthly expenses, right? So the fun thing with utilities is you can actually, at least local here to Manhattan, you can actually go in and put yourself on an average payment plan. And I do this on all mine just because it helps create that budget and hold that budget. That way you don't have the $1,000 a month and $20 a month in the winter, on your gas stuff. So you just got to kind of create that. But look at your monthly expenses, right? How much goes into your living costs? How much goes into your entertainment? How much goes into eating out? What does that look like for what you're looking at, right? Are there any lifestyle changes that you have planning coming up? Maybe it's a new baby. Maybe it's a new marriage. Maybe it's a whatever. I don't even know, right? Maybe you're getting a raise at the job, so you have that. So creating that budget and actually staying within that is super, super important. And for me, it's one of those big things where, trust me, my wife just posted on Instagram about this, and she was making a joke, but it's truth, right? In this meme that she says, my husband keeps using these nasty words. I'm trying to make this house a home, and my husband keeps using these nasty words like budget. Well, there's truth to it, right? Furnishing a home and making your home nice and creating this space in it that you want to be in is expensive. I mean, pillows aren't cheap. Curtains surprisingly are not cheap. For you people that don't understand that, go price a curtain. That one blew my mind. A piece of cloth laying over a window is way more expensive than I ever expected. But having nice things is apparently a necessity for a home. The other thing that you need to continue to understand is just planning for maintenance and repairs. Here's the thing. If you buy something that's brand new and you just leave it and let it set and you're good and just use it every day, you probably got a couple of years. But if you're like me, you buy an older home and things like that, you're going to want to service those things. Servicing an HVAC system, I mean, you're looking at about $200 a pop every time. Now, again, if you service it, cleaning coils, cleaning filters, changing filters, doing all that stuff is important. But if you don't do it, it can be very expensive down the road. So planning for those types of preventative maintenance on things, and then just kind of planning. And I know that this is inexpensive or free, maybe if you're doing it yourself, but cleaning gutters and checking your grade every single year, like just maintaining your home. I'm not gonna say it's expensive, but it's not cheap either. Like you gotta go and be able to do that, right? Your time's worth something too. Now for me, when I have time, I love to go do that kind of stuff just because I enjoy shutting my brain off and just going taking care of a house, right? Problem for me is I just don't have time. So I think that's a big one where you got to balance that too, right? And I think the other one too is like, if you want a nice yard, so having the maintaining your lawn, maintaining your flower beds, buying flowers. That's another one that's crazy expensive to me. Buying out flowers and buying new things that way, and then painting. It doesn't happen every single year, but it definitely is something that should happen fairly often. So making sure you have a good understanding of what you're getting into, and then understanding that those maintenance and repair things, like those cost money, those cost time, those cost the ability to do that is it's important, right? I mean, I think being ready to go for any of those potential issues and things, because like I said earlier, we had frozen pipes, something I never had before, but it was so cold this year that we had 2 of them on 2 of our properties, and it wasn't something that we were really planning on. So I had to go. I was dressed in clothes, really nice clothes, crawled through a crawl space on one of our properties, had to reach up, and it was a crazy mess. But we got it figured out, we got it taken care of. But it's those things that you really got to kind of be prepared for, right? It's just maintenance. It's just general maintenance, because if you let it sit and do nothing, it will deteriorate and it will break down over time. And I think that's things that you need to plan for. One thing, and if you don't have this, then ask me for it. Put it in the comments or something below. I do have a preferred contractors list that I update every single year. I pull people off, I put people on, and I scrub this list every single year. And if I get a bad report from my clients or the people that are using them, I pull them off my list, because I want the right people. I want the important people on that list that are going to do a quality job and do it for a fair price. So I think that's a big one. So if you want that list of contractors, again, it ranges from fireplace people to general contractors. It's in anything, everything between. But I think that list is important, because having those trusted individuals and contractors that you like and know and trust is important to have when doing these maintenance things. Outside of the maintenance, I also want you to understand, like, let's do some upgrades, right? Everybody loves to have a brand new house and brand new things, but not all of us can afford it. I'm one of them. I don't even want to afford it, right? I like making a home, an old home, and redoing it and making it really nice and vibrant. So what upgrades are you going to do, right? So saving for those. And maybe it's, you've got your $5,000 emergency fund. Now I'm going to start saving for a brand new kitchen. For me, when my wife and I moved into our house, bless her soul, she was 8 months pregnant and I ripped the kitchen out. That's just what I do, apparently. But I ripped the kitchen out because I was like, hey, do you want this or do you want a master suite? And she's like, no, I want the kitchen. I said, okay, cool. So we ripped the kitchen out, did all new kitchen, all new cabinets, new countertops, actually, no, we didn't even do new appliances on that one. I might need to do that for her. But anyway, my point being is that having those upgrades ready to go, right? Like, choose. For me, it was like, okay, when we bought our house, I was like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. But I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm going to do this, and this. And I was like, okay, so as soon as we're done with that, we'll turn around and sell it. But that's just part of what we do. But I've just been going down that list over the last 8 years, and that's just part of what we're doing, right? Like, we did a new kitchen, new bathroom, new basement, added a bedroom in the basement. Like, we've added a lot of things and done a lot of things, but it's just continuing on that list. And as we have the money to do it, we want to go do these things. So we go do that, right? Understanding and budgeting and saving and planning for those upgrades that you're going to do over time is important. So understanding that working that into your budget is important too, because that's how, when you call me later on to say, hey, Kyle, we bought this house. We bought this house and we did this, and this. Well, now you forced equity into a home. That is, by the way, total sidebar, my absolute favorite way to buy a property is by forcing equity into a home. And I think that is the only way you should ever buy a property, unless you have just the cash flow and money and everything. It just protects your investment as well. Some of the most common pitfalls I see. So overspending on a big project. I think this is a very, very important thing, right? Every neighborhood is a little bit different. And I stress that because if you're going to go buy a $100,000 house, right, and you want to turn around and put $10,000 worth of countertops in this and $15,000 worth of cabinets and blah, 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 you probably need to take a minute, because you're probably overspending on that. You don't need marble floors and granite countertops or quartz countertops in this $150,000 house. You can probably get away with doing a Formica or something that way. Now, If you're looking at a $600,000 house, you don't want to put in Formica and cheap laminate flooring and things that way. You're going to want to do those higher end stuff. Now, that's my point though, right? Overspending on certain projects, it's very important. And I would stress to you, reach out to me, reach out to somebody that you trust in this industry and say, hey, if I do this, am I okay doing this? I think that's the big thing that most people do. Like they'll spend, I'm not joking you, they'll spend $30,000 on a marble floor when the buyer that you're going to potentially sell this to doesn't care about a marble floor. They care, is it clean? Does it look nice? Okay, that's the big thing I'll tell you on that one, is just not overspending on it too. And I think the big one too is like real hardwoods versus like an LVP or engineered hardwoods. Like there's big cost differences in that, and I think that's something to pay attention to. The other thing is just ignoring those small maintenance items that need to be fixed until they become a bigger problem. Case in point, I hate to admit it, but we had a house that we completely, we had a small leak under a sink. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. We'll deal with it later. Find it later. It continued to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And the leak didn't grow, but the problem grew because that leak, that slow drip as it was being used, caused us to have to pull out an entire wall of mold in that particular property. And I think the key or the lesson from that is, if you get that fixed right away, blow it out, dry it out, you're good, nothing else happens, right? Instead, I had to completely replace the drain line. I had to completely replace the drywall in the back. I had to do all of that just because of this one little leak. And I think that's the thing, is not ignoring those small maintenance issues that can be easily fixed until they get to be a big issue. So don't sleep on those. So some frequently asked questions about preparing financially is, how do I know where to start? Well, here's the thing, guys, is that if you were like, this is a safety issue, let's start there, right? But if you don't have any safety issues and there's no major, like, huge concerning issues and things, then just go with what you want, right? Like, I think over time, styles change, so it matters there, but go with what you want. Like for us, our first one that we wanted was a kitchen. So we redid our kitchen. We opened up walls and we changed things. We did a lot of work to it that way. And we fixed it, right? But we did what we wanted. We did, because there was no major concerns with what we were looking at, but we did what we wanted. And I think, take care of the safety and functionality issues. Like those are first and foremost, right? But then the other piece of that is just do what will make you happy and make you enjoy where you're living. The next thing is, what's the best way to save up for these upgrades? You, right? Like what you're gonna do. I know for me, I know the best way for me to save is to do a little bit every single month. I don't always do that, but I know that that's the best way that I can almost guarantee that money will be there. I don't miss $100 a month here and there kind of thing. But if I have a $10,000 project that I need to take care of, well, that $100 a month could be a really good spot for me to start, or maybe it's a whatever that number is. But I know that I don't ever do that. I always have to end up, selling more, doing something different, and selling whatever it may be. So understand what your savings is. So doing a savings account, having separate bank accounts is always important too. I mean, being able to kind of look at like, okay, this is what I need, this is what I want, let's get to this number, here's this account, we'll just dump into that. And then when you have the money, you spend it and have no qualms about it. So that's, I think you, and I think that's important to do, understand that. If you're catching this video and you understand that you need to start kind of planning and financially and getting ready for that stuff, reach out if you have questions. I want you to call, I want you to text, I want you to email me, whatever it is, whatever questions you need or have or anything else like that. Reach out. My phone number is 785-477-5485. That's my personal cell phone number. My email is kyle@homesforsalemhk.com. I don't care what you're looking for. I don't care what it is. I just want to be here to help. I want to make sure that it gets you taken care of on every front, right? I want you, if you've got questions about buying, selling, investing, or anything real estate related, I'm here to help. Reach out. Talk to me on that end of it. And if you're at the beginning stages of your process, I would love to talk with you about what I can do to help you in your buying process as your real estate agent. But again, if you've watched me throughout the years, and you understand that I just want you to use a professional real estate agent. Again, hopefully I'm here to help you and be there for you. But if you choose to use somebody else, then make sure they're a professional real estate agent. And there is a difference, I promise you that. But otherwise, if you need anything or if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. No questions asked. Will be questions asked, but I won't ask you to commit to anything. I just want to educate and help you understand what you're getting into when you're looking to buy a home. So if you enjoy this content, please go and hit that subscribe button. Go and hit that little bell so you get notified of any future content. And again, please give us that like, share our video, comment on the video below. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments as well. So if there's anything you need or anything like that, please do not hesitate to reach out. And as always, continue to watch our videos and we'll be here to help you out anytime along the way. Thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you later.